Still kind of long, but a little bit stubby. It's my favourite. Hello and welcome back. I'm going to be going through my pencil collection today. We've got the pencils that I use most frequently over here and some extras. And then over here we have my pencil storage, so where I put things like when I get a pack of 12 pencils, the spares that I haven't started using yet end up in here and things like that. So we'll go through those in a little bit. First up, let me roll some of these over here. We'll look at what I am using the most at the moment. So this question, this video is inspired by a question I got. I got the question a few months ago when I did a Q&A over on Instagram, and I got a question from Sashisha, who asked what my favourite sketching pencil is. And I originally answered that question over on my blog, and I'll leave the blog post for that in the description because I answered another question in there as well. But the question was, again, what is my favourite sketching pencil? And recently I've been a little under the weather, so I was trying to brainstorm comfy video ideas to do while I'm still a little low on energy at the moment. And I thought going through my entire pencil collection would be a fun one for you guys. So I've started laying out some of the ones that I use here, but before we dive in, one thing that I would like to ask of you all is, as I'm going through all of these, pick one that you would really, really like to see me use, and I will use that pencil in a sketching video. And I'll either do that sketching video next week or the week after that. But let me know in the comments which pencil you would like to see me use in a sketching video the most. And whichever one wins in the comments is the one I will use. So we're starting off with the pencils I use the most, and I've also got the erasers that I use the most here. So actually it's all four of these. So my workhorse pencil when it comes to everyday sketching and also writing is the P200 range of mechanical pencils by Pentel. So all of these are from the P200 range, it's just this one's difficult to see. We've got the 3mm, so when it says 203, that's the 3mm. We've got the 5mm, the 205, the 7mm, the 207, and the 9mm, the 209. And thankfully they all come with different colours. The 5 comes in a few other colours, so this is actually one of the pastel colours. I think the normal P205 is black, but you can get some pastel colours for the 5mm. I'll go over the leads that are in these at the moment, but I just want to talk about the pencil bodies themselves. So everyone has a different preference when it comes to how comfortable a pencil or a pen feels to hold. Some people need a really light pencil, some people need a heavier pencil, some people need a balance of the two, some people need to have a heavier weight near the front, some people need it to be balanced weight, some people need it to be thin, some people need it to be thicker, and all of these kinds of things. And I've tried a few different mechanical pencils now, so I've got a couple over here to show you. And over the years, I've found that for me, these are the most comfortable ones, especially for elongated periods of writing and sketching. I did use, so this is also by Pentel, this is the Graph Gear 1000, and it's also 0.9. Before I got this, I was using this one. So I was using this for my 9mm lead, 0.9mm lead for years on the channel. People will have seen this a bunch. But I decided to end up getting all four of my favourite lead thicknesses in the same pencil type, just because now I know, at the moment, for me, these fit my preferences and needs really, really well. The pencil's quite thin, it's quite light, it's a mixture of metal and plastic, so it's quite light, and it's comfortable for me to hold. The thickness of it is. This has a more matte finish to it, whereas these are shinier, and I actually prefer the matte. I wish I could get matte versions of these, but alas, I cannot. All of them have like this ridged section, and that's like tactile to hold, and it feels really nice to me. Again, other people don't like a tactile feel there. So I showed this one. The main difference with this is that it is quite heavy and it is a little bit thicker at the top there, but I do like how you can turn this around to show what kind of lead is in it. That's really cool. And I do really like these pencils, but the weight does start tiring out my hand after a while, which is why I switched to that. I do still use this, which is why I want to show it. I keep this one on my desk in a pencil pot, which it will now go back in now that we've talked about it. But in my everyday carry pencil case, these are the 4 that are in there. Honourable mention, or I guess, I don't really know if we should call it an honourable mention. When I started using 0.3mm leads, I wanted to try out the Arens. This is also by Pentel. Apparently I really like Pentel mechanical pencils. So this is the Arens, and it has a... Oop, I've got graphite all over my fingies. There we go. This has a lead support system. So what it does is it kind of cushions the lead inside there, and you're supposed to not even be able to see the lead when you're using it. And it's supposed to help prevent the lead from breaking. In practice, this metal tube just disappears on its own when I leave the pencil in my pencil case for a while, or even I was using this daily with these. The tube would sometimes be all the way up like it is now, sometimes it'd be halfway down, sometimes it'd be all the way down there, and then I'd have to click it out, and then sometimes it would be halfway down here, but then the lead would be all the way out because the lead went on an adventure while it was in my pencil case, and I was having to set up the pencil every time. Like, it only takes a few seconds, but even a few seconds of distance between you picking up a pencil and sketching can cause resistance and just annoy you and set you up for... specifically for me, annoy me and set me up for not a fun time before I've even begun. And I was finding that this was just starting to get a little too annoying. So I ended up buying the same pencil body but for the 0.3. And so far I've not had the lead break on me. And I can press quite hard when I'm wanting a really, really dark line or a dark value. And again, it's not broken on me so far, but the weight of it and the thickness of it, really nice to hold and everything, but it was just the cushioning system was annoying me to use in practice. So this will probably end up being given to a friend, or I'll take it to a charity shop or something, but I do still use this one. Another mechanical pencil that's an honourable mention is clutch pencils. I did used to use the Kohinoor clutch pencils, but I have given the vast majority of those away now. They're the most cheap and easy to obtain ones where I am, but I ended up being able to try a Mitsubishi Uni, and I ended up really liking it. 2mm clutch pencils are really nice if you want to compromise between having a mechanical pencil and a wooden pencil, because the lead is almost the same thickness as a wooden pencil. And I've tried a couple different brands of the leads, so I will also go over them when I go through the leads for these. Is there anything to mention about this? The only thing to note about the Mitsubishi unibody of clutch pencils is that they don't have a sharpener at the end of them. The Kohinoor ones that I used did, so you would unscrew it and then that would be a little sharpener that you could then turn around and sharpen the leads with. But this one doesn't have one. You have to buy a little, it almost looks like a little sharpener but thinner to sharpen the lead with. I don't have it on me right now, and I did try to find it before starting this video, but alas I could not. The other thing to note, which I'll show you when I show the LEDs, it comes with like a little silicone ring or something on the end of it, and that's to prevent the lead from being used in other pencils, I guess, because it does prevent it from being able to be put in other pencils. But you can just remove it, like I removed the ring on the one I just showed you. Let's see, next we'll talk about the LEDs that I use, and then I'll show these pencils. So the LEDs I use for those 4 mechanical pencils are these LEDs here. All of these are Einstein LEDs by Pentel. Apparently I really like Pentel. We have 2 2Bs and 2 HBs. So if we're going to lay them out in thickness order, we have a 2B03, a HB05, let me get you out of the light, a 2B07, and the HB09. And that makes up the vast majority of my sketching and drawing when it comes to using graphite pencils. I'll put a few examples on screen for you of drawings and sketches where I was using these pencil leads. Another nice thing about these pencil leads, while I'm also putting stuff on screen for you, is that you can get them in different pack sizes. So you can get them in singles, you can get them in 3s, and you can also, I did bring them out, where did I put them? I found it. You can get them in big boxes of, I think this is 12 tubes. So this is going to last me a really long time. I don't have boxes for all of these, but I do use the 0.7 2B a lot, so I do have a box of these tubes. The lead that is in that clutch pencil is a Mitsubishi lead, but it's the HB that came with the pencil. So when you buy the pencil, it comes with a lead already in it, and that was a HB type. These ones I have here are 4B. And just to show you what I was meaning by the silicone ring thing, that's what I mean by like a silicone ring on the end. So if I didn't remove the silicone ring, I couldn't fit these leads into my Koh-i-Noor clutch holders. That's all my mechanical pencils that I use frequently. So let's go over the wooden pencils I use the most. Then I'll go over the erasers I use the most, and then we'll get into all of the extras. So my workhorse wooden pencil is the smooth writing pencil for office use, the Mitsubishi 9850 in HB. You can get it in 2B as well, but I haven't been able to try those. And I get them in boxes of 12, as we'll see when we get into the storage box. This is the pencil I use the most for writing and sketching when it comes to using wooden pencils. It's really nice. It is a Japanese type of graphite, so I've noticed that when I've used different brands of pencils, the Japanese leads tend to run slightly darker than the European and some American brands of pencils. And what I mean by that is if you were to use this pencil next to a Faber-Castell HB, this one would look darker than the other one. That's just something I've noticed using pencils over time. The second pencil I use the most is the Blackwing Pearl. You can see them properly when we get to the storage box again, but this one has worn away the gold inlaid text there a little bit, but this is the Blackwing Pearl. I love it when Blackwings start getting to be this size, when they're just like still kind of long but a little bit stubby. It's my favourite. It's my favourite size of pencil is when they're starting to get a tiny bit stubby. I still like them when they're a little bit stubby as well though. So this one I also love, but it's mainly for drawing, whereas this one I use a lot for writing and drawing. I don't write with black wings typically. I like the pearl because it is the first one I used. I have started playing around with 3 of the other kinds of black wings, which I have over here. I only have 1 each of these. I picked them up last year and I occasionally use them just to try them out and things like that. When it comes to how dark they are, the Blackwing Matte, which is this one, is the darkest, the softest, and then the Pearl is next, and then it's the 602, which is this one, which says half the pressure, twice the speed. So this is the 602. And then it's the natural. If it doesn't want to focus on the natural. There we go. And other than the pencil body, to differentiate them, the erasers are all different. So it's black, white, pink, and then grey to differentiate them. And these are the standard types that you can get, but they also do the limited edition ones. I've never tried the limited edition, and I have this one in a multi-pack, and then as I mentioned, these ones are singles so that I can try out the different lead softnesses. So one reason why this one is my favourite is simply because it's the first one I tried. If I'm going to be honest with you, I went with the balanced, so the one between matte and 602, because I wanted to have a nice range available to me with only 1 pencil, and that ended up being true. I really like it because it is light enough for me to use to start off a sketch with, and it's also able to go really, really dark really easily, so I can do a lot with just the Blackwing Pearl. And then the other pencil that I use frequently when it comes to wooden pencils is the General Cedar Point in HB. This has a wooden body, kind of like the Blackwing Natural does, but it's unfinished, so it's not varnished. It feels really nice and matte against my fingers. It does have a little problem when it comes to sharpening. The wood tends to break off. The actual lead is fine when it comes to the sharpening, but the wood comes off in shards. I really like this for sketching as for something different. That's one of the reasons why I have this in my most used wooden pencil section, is because it is a different feel when it comes to sketching with it. What I mean by it feels different to use is that Japanese leads tend to be quite smooth feeling, very, very buttery feeling, whereas some European and US brands can be smooth, but a lot of them can also offer like really tactile feedback from the graphite, so you get more feedback when you're using it, and this one does have more feedback to me when I'm sketching with it. It has like that scratchy kind of feeling when I'm using it. I'm using very technical terms right now. So it's nice just to have something different, because even the mechanical pencils I use, they all have quite a smooth, buttery feeling, and then these are both quite smooth and buttery feeling to me. So just having something that I can go to when I want a different drawing experience is really nice for me. So those are the most used wooden pencils I have, with the addition of these that I'm just occasionally reaching for at the moment, just to see if I like any of those better than the Pearl. Right, where are we at now? Very, very brief addition. These are the charcoal and chalk pencils that I use sometimes for figure drawing. We have the Conte à Paris charcoal in 2B, and then we also have the Pierre Noir version. This one is more like your typical charcoal, and then this one is more like a carbon pencil, so it has more of like a waxy feel. I like both for different reasons when doing figure drawing, and I only use those on newsprint paper. Then I also have the Wolf's Carbon pencils. This is the 6B. I just got a set of them, so it's like 2B, 4B, 6B, 8B, and I sometimes use those for figure drawing, just again for something different, but I mainly use these two types. And my favourite of these two is the one that has the waxier feel, this one. I have the HB and the 2B for these. And for chalk, we have the Cretacolor white chalk, and again I only really use that for doing figure drawing but on toned paper, and sometimes I'll use it to produce like a really hazy light effect on toned paper when I'm sketching in graphite. But most of the time with toned paper I'll use white colour pencils to add white rather than using chalk. And I think that covers the stuff that I use the most when it comes to pencils. So let's get into the erasers. In order, we have a kneaded eraser, and this one is the Faber-Castell type of kneaded eraser. I keep them in little pots I've reused, and I have a few different pots all over my room and in different pencil cases and things. This is the one from my everyday carry pencil case. The Faber-Castell ones are really soft, and my only issue with them is that they can get quite sticky in summer when it's very, very hot, which is another reason why I keep them in pots like this, just so that they don't transfer onto my pencils, because when it is very, very hot they can start leaving residue on the other things in the pencil case, as well as picking up dust and stuff like that. My next most used eraser is the Mono Zero. This is a really thin click type eraser, and I use that to erase really, really tiny or really thin areas. And then a more recent addition to my pencil case, I think this was from last summer, is the Pentel Click Eraser, and it's the same idea as that one, but it's thicker. And you can get refills for, I know you can get refills for this, and I believe you can get refills for this one as well. That's what I use for all of my erasing, and I use a kneaded eraser 99.9% of the time. Okay, now we come to the maybe more exciting part of the tour, which is my pencil archive or my pencil storage. This isn't something that I often tend to show. I usually show the pencils that I'm using at the moment and things like that, or what's in my pencil case and stuff, rather than my storage. At least I don't remember showing my storage anyway. I might have done. But we've got like general storage in this pencil case here, and then we have the wooden pencil storage over here. I'll go through the, which one shall we do first? I'll do this one first. Move you over to the side a bit. There we go. So this is where I keep my pencil leads, if it wants to focus, there we go. My pencil leads, and then just spare random things. So we have the pencil leads for my 2mm clutch pencils. And I haven't tried too many different brands of the clutch pencil leads. I've only tried the Koh-i-Noor, the Mitsubishi, and the Faber-Castell. I've heard that, is it the Staedtler ones are supposed to be really good? I think Mars Lumograph have 2mm clutch pencil leads maybe? I might just be making that up in my head, but I haven't tried them. For the Faber-Castell I have the 2B leads here, and these fit just fine in like the Koh-i-Noor clutch pencils. They fit just fine in the Mitsubishi one that I use. And these, as I mentioned, do run a little bit lighter than Japanese brands do. So even though this is 2B, it feels a little bit more like a Japanese HB, if that makes sense. And then we have the 4Bs that I showed you earlier. And again, because this is a Japanese brand of leads, the 4Bs do run very, very soft and very, very dark, which I really like because I wanted a really nice dark clutch pencil option. We have here some other random leads going on. So I mentioned that you can get like 3 packs of these, so I got the 0.5 HB in a 3-pack, so the spare 2 are in here. I have also tried out a couple other 0.5mm options in different softnesses, and I keep them in here just to switch out whenever I feel like it. And we also have a couple colour pencil options here with the 0.7mm, and I used to sketch in these a fair amount, but I don't tend to anymore because I found that they are very, very not light fast. Even with the sketchbooks I was using them in, which obviously don't sit out in the light a lot, I noticed that some of my oldest sketchbooks, which are only like 5 years old, are already, you can barely see the sketches I did in, especially the orange of this. And I got rid of the orange, I gave that away, and I kept the pink and the blue because these seem to hold up the best, but I still don't tend to reach for them because, for one, I only have the one pencil body and I use the 2B graphite lead the most, and 2, I'm just not keen on using them if the sketches are going to disappear. But the nice thing about these is that they're erasable. What else do we have? We've got refills for the Mono Zero eraser. So this eraser. We've got the pencil piece. We've got, what are these called? A stump, a paper stump. There we go. I was stumped then. Haha. I don't use those that often, so it stays in there. And then we have a new kneaded eraser waiting and ready for whenever I need to renew one of these. I usually end up splitting it up into at least like either 4 pieces or 3 pieces. So one of these will last me a really long time. And that is everything inside that storage case. So let's have a look at this one. So as I mentioned, this is where I put the wooden pencils, and there's sort of 2 categories going on in here. One is spares from box sets. So like I mentioned, this is one of the pencils I use the most, the Blackwing Pearl, and when I got a box of them, this is what they look like normally. They come unsharpened and they actually have the gold on them before it wears away. And I keep the spares in here. Same thing with the other pencil I use a lot, the Mitsubishi 9850. The other ones from the 12 packs are in here as well. So we have spares from multi-packs in here, but then we also have just pencils that I don't tend to reach for frequently at all. So some examples of that would be, we have the Koh-i-Noor Tritone here. I got a pack of Tritones years ago. It's somewhere way back on the channel. And these are really, really hard. So a lot of the paper that I use doesn't really pick them up very well. This one is my favourite out of the set, and I ended up giving away the other ones over time. and I only reach for this when I want to have fun. So this isn't a standard everyday sketching pick for me, so it stays in this storage box until I'm like, I really want to just draw with rainbow colours, and then I'll end up picking it up again. Another example of the multi-pack things is that the other Cedar Point pencils are in here. They do come pre-sharpened. We also have these two here. These came with the pack of the Cedar Point pencils that I got, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. I know I bought them at the same time. I think they came together in like a set. I think it was 2 of these and then 4 of the General Cedar Points, if I'm remembering right. It's been a while. These run a lot darker, but they still have that really scratchy feel to them, and I don't ever really use them. As you can see, they're not sharpened, but I have used them a little bit. These may end up being given to someone else just because I don't ever reach for them, but again, I've not really given them much of a chance, so maybe I should try sketching with them. We have here the Cretacolor Monolith in 2B. There should also be this, yeah, there it is, the 6B in here as well. These are solid graphite pencils, and these are really fun to get really expressive marks with them because the graphite is all the way from here down to here, so you can get really thick marks with them. They're fun to use, but again, it's not like an everyday pencil option for me. It's just like this is fun. We have the Faber-Castell Pitt type here, and it used to be a really long pencil. It used to almost be as long as the Blackwings, and this is the 9B, so it's a very soft lead, and I split it in half, and I gave the other half to a family member. I use it sometimes. You can see that it's smoothed down a little bit from me using it, but I haven't gotten to the point where I've needed to actually sharpen it beyond how it came sharpened when I bought it yet. Let's see. Let me remove the pencils that we've already covered. So the rest of the pencils in here are pencils that I don't reach for too frequently, but I still like having them around as an option. So we have a set of the Pitt Graphite Matte. So these are graphite pencils, but they've I can't remember what they add to it, but they've been made so that they don't shine as much. So one of the things that some people do and don't like about graphite is that it's shiny when you draw with it, and that can be annoying to some people, whereas other people don't mind it. The Pitt Graphite Matte pencils, that's really getting to my ability to speak there. Pitt Graphite Matte pencils don't shine as much. They do shine a little bit, but it's more of like a waxy kind of shine to them. As you can see, some of the pencils I've used more than others. So for example, this one that's sharpened is the 2B, which I've used a few times. And I just keep these around because sometimes I might want to sketch with something that feels a little bit different, because they do have a fair bit of feedback to them in comparison to other pencils I use. This is the 12B, which I also use a fair bit. These are the ones I use the most. And it came in a set of, I think it's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12B. So I just keep those around for something different. We have some Faber-Castell pencils here. Again, I just keep these around for something different. Very standard pencil that you can find very easily in the UK. And I've got I think the 2B and the 4B. So I've got 2 2Bs and 2 4Bs here. And then we have another one of them, another one of them. The last 2 pencils we have in here are Combo Mono 100 pencils, and I got these to test out a few years back, but I didn't end up liking them to the point where I felt like they would become an everyday pencil for me. I love them a lot, but I still have all of these Blackwing Pearls to get through, so I don't feel like I need to replace these with these yet, if that makes sense. Once I'm nearing the end of the Blackwing Pearls, I should have a good understanding of whether or not I prefer something else either out of this range or out of the other Blackwings that I might want to end up replacing these with. But for now, the Blackwing Pearls are something I already have, so. But I do really enjoy sketching with the Combo Mono 100s. They feel very similar to Blackwings to me. They feel very, very similar. The main difference that I've noticed is that the Blackwings don't smudge as easily as the Mono 100s do. I'm trying to remember where I put all of these now. I think all of these fit in here. The Mono 100s smudge a lot easier, which is just something to be aware of while drawing, but I don't mind. I don't mind. So there we have it. This is what makes up my pencil collection. You've seen my storage, you've seen the spares, you've seen the pencils that I don't use as often but still like to have around. You've seen the pencils I use the most, both my like everyday carries, the workhorses, and then also my favourites when it comes to sketching and writing, just sketching, having something a little bit different. So yeah. Hopefully this was interesting, and let me know which one you would like to see me draw with the most in an upcoming sketching video. If you're intrigued by a range, so if you really want me to try, say like the Blackwings as a whole, then I could maybe do something where I like try these three out or something like that, but ideally just pick one and then we'll go from there. But thank you for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!